Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Turning Point Podcast. This is episode number 30, the final episode for 2022. I'm one of your hosts, Lara, and I'm joined once again by Lewin. How are we doing, my friend?
I'm going good. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I was going to say something and I just forgot what it was. The hello everyone put me off, so now we're just going to do this. We've got this like awkward bit here that we're just going to leave in, you know.
2022 has been our weird year. Welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say it's fucking hot.
It is.
Yeah.
Australia's kind of scuffed at the moment.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell by the accents, we are in...
And the several times that we've mentioned it.
Yeah, we are in the fictional land of Australia that apparently doesn't exist.
We're just upside down America. Everyone knows this.
Yeah, we're all paid actors here.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm still waiting on my paycheck. Have you got yours yet?
No, they keep telling me my salary's getting adjusted and they don't tell me how.
Yeah.
Honestly, not worth the gig.
Yeah, I think I might quit. The only reason I said that is because I watched a video yesterday about a YouTuber who genuinely didn't believe Australia existed and literally made his entire online personality about proving that Australia doesn't exist.
That's really worrying.
And then he flew to Australia and he's like, oh yeah, I actually flew to New Zealand and they drugged me and like I didn't everything I experienced in Australia didn't happen. It wasn't real, and I was just drugged by the New Zealand government. I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
The whole week I was here, I was just in a quarry in Wales.
But yeah, I mean, look, it is bloody hot today. I've got my fan on, so if it is in the background, I apologize, but I'm also not compromising for this fucking show. You know?
I guess.
Like it's staying on. I'll tell you what is actually compromising, Lewin. What is actually compromising is me not having the aircon running now. That is a compromise. Because I should have it on. You've
done your service more than enough.
Yeah, I've done way more than I honestly should have. I've gone above and beyond. But yeah, it is the end of the year. So look, listen, I have no real plan for this episode. We were going to do the bullshit awards, but I mean, there was really no point because...
Neither of us really figured out anything in 2022.
Honestly, I can't even remember half the shit that happened this year.
I had to go through a list.
I'll tell you what, though, I am very glad that my Reformed Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton got a shout out at the Game Awards this year.
Good on him. He deserves it.
Yeah, I think he does. You know what? He does, actually.
All the Americans suddenly outraged.
Yeah, well, I mean, America's not a real place, so...
Yeah, America's just right side up Australia. They're paid actors.
They're paid actors. They don't exist. It would explain a lot about America, if I'm being honest. But explain why, like, Donald Trump was president, for example. Like, that makes a lot of sense if America doesn't actually exist. I'm actually... You know what? I am now officially an America denier. I'm going to say this right here, right now. I'm on the record. I am officially denying the existence of America.
Oh boy,
go fuck yourselves.
Ending 2022 on a high note. Let's go.
I know this episode is like the whole start of this episode has been scuffed, but I just ripped the little like label that was on my bottle of water.
Oh.
I just ripped it off, and now it's in my hands. It's got like sticky parts on it. It's weird. So I'm just gonna go. I was gonna go put it over here, and I'm just gonna leave it over there, and it's now gone. And now I just have a bottle of water.
So for the record, for anybody who's kept up with most of this, it is, you know, pretty much tradition that we're a bit more serious than this. But also, like, normally we record either very early in the morning or very late at night when we are either too tired to care or haven't got brain functions yet. It's the middle of the day right now for once. We're breaking all the traditions.
We're breaking new ground.
We're pioneering our way.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're known for. We're known for being the pioneers of the future of podcasting. It is the end of the year, and we were going to do the bullshit awards, and we just thought, look, there's no fucking point, because we haven't experienced half the shit that's come out this year. There's no point going through and being like, what came out this year? So I thought we'd just do, instead of doing the bullshit awards, we'll break tradition, because, I mean, it would have been the last time we do it, and I'll get into that in a sec, because that's like a weird thing to say without the context. But I just realized that when I said, I'm like, I haven't revealed
Formally
that yet. We can't talk
anything.
about that. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I just thought we'd just, kind of sit back and reflect on what we have played this year, and just the things in general that stand out. Like whatever it is you've watched or played or, I don't know, done. You've done anything this year? Anything that, like, stands out? Like, well, we'll just have a chat about that. And, of course, usually talk about the usual, what we've been doing recently. And I mean, you went to the effort of putting a list of things together, so I mean, it'll be interesting to see what actually did come out this year, because
It's
mean,
really
so
on my
disconnected.
list. It's really not much.
Yeah. But, so I just thought we'd do a pretty chill, just laid back episode, nothing really planned. Obviously there's a new Doctor Who trailer that just dropped today at the time of recording, so we can talk about that for a bit. But before we get started, I think we should address the kind of the
elephant that only just came into the room.
Yeah. So we do have a bit of an announcement to make, and look, this announcement's been a long time coming, and it's still a long way away when you really think about it. But so Lou and I have been talking a bit behind the scenes recently, and we have decided that at the end of next year we are going to be ending the podcast, ending the show. At least in terms of, like, it being a regular thing. Like, I'm sure we'll probably still do, like, Doctor Who spoiler casts or something. Like, I'm sure we'll still do something for when like Series 14 comes and airs. We'll probably do, like, a spoiler cast, and we'll do something. Well, I'll figure out a home to put that on, because with the ending of the podcast, I'm also going to be retiring my old YouTube channel officially. So, we have decided, just simply because, things change. When we started this podcast a couple of years ago, was it 2020? It was literally, like, just before lockdown, too. Like, we started in February.
Shit, it was before lockdown.
Yeah, and, like, literally a couple of months in, we were in lockdown.
We had all the time in the world at that point.
The COVID. Yeah, we pumped out a lot of episodes that year, and I think last year was really good as well. The 2021 year was just good. This year we've kind of, I would say, slacked off a bit. Yeah. I would think. And things change, and I mean, half the stuff we talk about on this show, I wouldn't say you're not interested in it, because I think you do still actively partake in the consumption of some of this stuff. Mm-hmm. But I do generally feel like there's less of an interest to talk about it in general. Even on your side, I think.
Yeah, this year has been a drop-off in fandom for me.
Yeah. Oh, apart from Doctor Who, of course.
Apart from Doctor Who, I can go on forever about Doctor Who.
Doctor Who will always be there. Like, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that Russell T Davies was coming back and David Tennant was announced and all that, I can absolutely guarantee you there would have been no hype from me this year at all. You know what I mean? Like, I just wouldn't have cared. I was just more excited for the Power of Doctor to come out and for the Chibnall era to hurry up and fucking end, rather than, like, anything else, Like, where, like, last year, like, I think that was, like, an all-time low for my interest in Doctor Who, you know what I mean? Like, I was
even
just like,
for me, it was.
I was just like, I don't give a fuck.
It's probably noted by now that in terms of that, I am usually far more optimistic about it than you, but even I was hitting a low at that point.
And look, listen, and it's the same with, like, Star Wars and, like, Marvel and stuff for me. Like, I literally have not watched a single Marvel thing that's come out this year. I couldn't even tell you what's come out this year, right? And I don't plan on watching any of that shit.
Fair enough.
And, like, when it comes to Star Wars, like, look, I mean, obviously, like I was saying to you before the show, we got some Star Wars stuff coming out next year that's pretty exciting. We got a Mandalorian Season 3. We've got Ahsoka, which is very looking forward to that. I'm obviously biased when it comes to that, of course, so, you know, I mean, that'll probably be fucking terrible, and I'll still be like, no, it's fucking great. But, like, in terms of, like, my interest for that, like, my interest is very specific when it comes to Star Wars now, because I'm like, I just don't give, like, I haven't watched Andor. I've been told by many people that Andor is really good.
I told you I wasn't gonna watch it. I've watched 4 episodes. It's actually pretty damn good, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Another one, I can add you to the list of people. I'm not gonna fucking watch.
I know you're not gonna watch it, but I'm just gonna throw that one there.
Well, I was saying this yesterday, like, my biggest problem with Disney shows in general right now is that Disney shows are more about references and cameos than actually telling a good story. Like, you might get a good story, and I know Andor doesn't have a lot of that.
Yeah.
But that's my problem with Disney. It just really turns me off Disney stuff in general now. Like, I can tell you right now, I've been watching a lot of, like, Korean shows recently, like K-dramas. I've not watched a single bad one. And all of them have fantastic writing, amazing character work. And obviously there's probably bad ones, of course there is. But in terms of what I've watched, every single one is better than anything that's on Disney Plus. 100%. Like, even better than, like, the Disney Plus shows I actually like. You know, like, the things we would have talked about a couple of years ago, just don't interest me now in the same way. Like, I'm not gonna straight up say that I'm not interested. It's just going to be more of, like if you've watched Andor...
interested, then.
Yeah, like, if you've watched Andor, right, and you wanted to talk about it, then fucking talk about it. Like, I will humor a conversation about Andor. I don't actually care. But, like, yeah, it's just, like, it's whatever now, you know? Like, I think a lot of it has definitely come to do with the fact that I have tried to go out of my way to broaden my horizons a bit with not just, like, games, but also, like, shows and stuff. You know, I've gone out of my way to watch some K-dramas, and, I've been playing a lot of, like, JRPGs, obviously, with, like, the Final Fantasy series, which, if you had asked me several years ago, would I ever play a Final Fantasy game, I'd be like, no. Like, why would I play those games? You know, when now I'm, like, playing Final Fantasy 13, and, like, I'm playing Crisis Core right now, and I'm going to go back and play the original Final Fantasy 7. And, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, the show ending. Right. So, in regards to that, we've decided that we are going to end the show at the end of next year. And like I said, like, we might do, like, a show every now and then. It won't be this. I think that's a good way to describe it. Like, we will still do it from time to time, I'm sure. But it just won't be this, what we're doing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, we're just going to end it. And again, like, it just comes down to, yeah, just interests are changing. Like, both Lewin and I feel like we've both changed a lot as well over the past few years anyway. But also, like, life circumstances, you know. We're both doing the full-time grind right now.
Scheduling is a bitch.
It's just becoming a lot harder to do it. And especially if we're trying to get guests on as well, it becomes a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah.
Which is why we haven't had a guest on in a while, actually, because it's so much easier just to be like, hey, when could you record? Rather than try to add a third person to the mix. But it also feels like a good time, too. Like, I feel like, you know, rather than just ending the show, and rather than just being like, cool, this is our last episode, see you later. You know, it feels like the 60th anniversary feels like the right time. Like let's end it on a high point, and then we can move on and do other things. But you and I like talking about Doctor Who, so I don't see a future where we're not doing something Doctor Who related. You know what I mean?
It's
like, I don't think that's not going to happen. But yeah, now with this as well, so I've also made the decision that this episode you are listening to right here, right now, is actually going to be the final episode on podcast platforms. As of next year, I will not be uploading these to podcast platforms anymore. The main reason is because it's expensive. Yeah, it costs money, it's expensive, and I'd rather not spend the money on it. So basically, if you do listen to this show on podcast platforms, I believe the way it works is, I think the back catalogue will remain if you're listening to it on Spotify. But if you do listen to it on other platforms, like, I don't know what other platforms we're even on. I think it's like Google Podcasts or something. But I do know from last time I didn't pay the subscription, they immediately cut off the RSS feed. So the podcast just disappears. But it remains on Spotify. I noticed that, like, because there was that period where, like, I think it was, like, 3 months where we didn't play, like, where I didn't pay the podcast platform fee. It was still up on Spotify for that whole time. Like, it didn't disappear, but it completely disappeared off all other platforms. So, yeah, there will still be the back catalogue, but in terms of new episodes, in terms of whatever we do next year, that is going to be YouTube exclusive only. So we're just going to do the video podcast and just upload it straight onto YouTube, onto my YouTube channel, and that's going to be the end of it. Like, I'm not doing audio versions. I'm not making, audio. Like, I've started doing, like, specific audio podcast thumbnails. I'm not doing that. Like, we're just doing it as one complete version. It's going up on YouTube. Feel free to download it if you want and you want to listen to it on the go. Feel free to do that. Or if you do happen to have YouTube, what do they call it? YouTube Premium or YouTube Red? Or if you happen to have that, and this isn't a plug for YouTube Red, by the way, I'm just saying if you happen to have that, you are able to listen to it on the go without having to watch the video. So, go ahead and do that if you feel inclined. But yeah, this will be the last episode that'll be available on podcast platforms. So that's just a bit of a heads up moving forward into next year. But we've still got a big year ahead, I think. Like, there's a lot of stuff coming out.
Yeah.
Obviously, the 60th anniversary. I think we definitely need to get a couple of Doctor Who themed episodes in there to kind of celebrate that and kind of build out the year a little bit with some Doctor Who related content.
I always agree.
Yeah, so there's definitely stuff to do. There's definitely plenty more content to come. It will be ending with the 60th anniversary. We'll finish it off with that. I don't know how you feel on the whole situation, but sometimes things run their course, and you gotta just let it end. I think it's better to end it and agree and end it on a high note and end it while we're still enjoying it, rather than just keep doing it. And then it just gets so stale to the point where we just don't want to do it anymore, and we're forcing ourselves to do it because that's just what we've been doing, I'd rather do that, I think. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that.
No, not really. I don't do the editing process, so it's more just scheduling for me.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a bit of a bummer to start the episode.
You know what's not a bummer? The amount of followers we're going to get on the American denial system.
Oh, yeah, we should really play into that before the end of the podcast. We should do a whole episode. the American conspiracy theory special. In fact, forget the 60th anniversary. That's going to be our magnum opus. That's going to be the final episode.
If America's not real.
Exactly. But there's some stuff to talk about this episode. We've got the 60th anniversary trailer that just dropped this morning at the time of recording this. We are recording this on Boxing Day, so Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
But yeah, that dropped. What are your thoughts on that little cheeky teaser trailer?
Little cheeky teaser trailer, indeed. I am quite keen. I'm a little bit skeptical now, more than I was before, but I am still very keen.
I mean, that's something I think is very important, and something I've been certainly trying to practice a lot more recently, is a bit more of, like, healthy skepticism. Because skepticism doesn't mean something looks bad. It just means, you're going into it, going into it with an open mind. But I think a bit of healthy skepticism with everything is good, Like, for example, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm a little skeptical about it because I'm a little concerned about the direction that's going in. Not in terms of, like, whether it'll be good or bad. I'm just worrying, like, are they going to pull it off? Whatever it is they're planning, are they going to pull it off, or is it just going to turn into a shit show? That's my concern. But, like, that's just more, like, healthy skepticism. You know? Like,
see, my skepticism is, for the 60th trailer, it is leaning a lot into Series 4. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that's what the big draw is. I just want to know, is there going to be more on the rest of Doctor Who, given that it is the 60th?
I mean, I think that is 100% a fair criticism, or like fair skepticism.
A fair concern? I think it's concern, yeah.
Yeah. The thing is like, I want to say, like, I think everything that was in this trailer is only from the first episode. I don't think there was anything. Maybe the Ncuti Gatwa bit, maybe, but like, and maybe there was like some random shots thrown in there, maybe. But I think the majority of it is from the first episode. Because remember, it's going to be 3-hour-long specials.
Yes.
And so, like, it's 3 hours of content, and we're seeing, like, a minute of it. And, of course, they're not going to show anything from the actual 60th anniversary. Because, realistically, only one of these is going to be the actual 60th anniversary special.
Most likely
like,
the finale of it.
It'll be the finale, yeah. Like, yes, it is the umbrella of... It's a series designed to celebrate the 60th anniversary. But, and they're all obviously going to air in the month of that anniversary. But, like, realistically, only one of these is going to air on the actual 60th anniversary. But to be fair, Beep the Meep is a 70s thing. So, like, you know, like, that's, like, from a 70s comic book or whatever. So, like, I mean, to be fair, like, I think he is throwing... And the other monsters as well, I think. Are they, like, a comic book thing? I
think I've seen people say that they are. I'm not familiar with Comic Who continuity.
I mean, look, it is some obscure Doctor Who stuff, but I mean, he is throwing stuff in that are, and I mean, the leaked console design is very kind of like reminiscent of the classic console as well. Obviously, we still need to see what that actually is going to look like in terms of on film.
Yeah.
And I don't think we'll see that in a trailer. I think that's going to be something that will be reserved for the episode. But yeah, like, I mean, there's definitely going to be more to it than what we're seeing. And it looks like everything that was in the trailer too was mostly the public filming that they were doing earlier in the year. Like, there's very little in that trailer that we haven't already seen. No Wilf in the trailer, which was a bit disappointing. Which probably says to me that Wilf is going to be a very, very small part of it, and
I reckon they had to have known his health circumstances prior to filming, so I reckon he was always just going to be maybe a cameo, short term. Hey, look who's back! Because everyone loves Wilf. We all love Wilf.
And the TARDIS has been designed specifically for a wheelchair.
Yeah. So,
and we know that what's her name? Wheelchair girl from the other Russell T Davies shows. What's that actress's name?
I don't know.
I've forgotten. Is it Ruth? Hang on, let me look this up because I think it's Ruth Madley, right? That's her name.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yes,
yeah.
We did it. Okay, we got there. Ruth Madley's in the special. So I'm wondering, is she gonna get scenes in the TARDIS as well? Because we do know, and this was actually rumoured a long time ago, that the TARDIS's new design would have ramps and things like that, and we all just assumed at the time it was for Wilf, because Wilf is in a wheelchair as well in this. But yeah, who knows, maybe she might get some scenes in the TARDIS as well, which I think is pretty cool. Also, we've got to look at Rose as well. We got to look at Yasmin Finney
as
Rose. What else happened in the trailer?
We got more looks at Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh yes, he's
worldwide premiere.
Yes,
we get to see Neil Patrick Harris hamming it the fuck up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, especially because he looks like obviously he's wearing a wig in those shots, because we've seen him obviously out in the public filming with just his normal hair as well. So I'm wondering, is he going to be like changing up his appearance a bit? Sorry, I'm just bringing up the trailer now just so I can kind of like skim through it and see if there's anything else.
There was
anything to really talk about.
Aliens, Unit, Yasmin Finney.
Oh fuck, that was really loud. The shot of London looks really nice, really crisp.
I love the colours in this trailer. As much as I like how, besides the close-ups and everything, I don't mind how the Chibnall era looks, but this also looks fantastic and better in a completely different way.
Oh, there's the big scene in the streets with all the people running around. That was also public filming as well.
Oh yeah, there was, yeah. With Neil
Oh yeah,
Patrick
and we actually do
Neil-
also get that that teaser shot of him in the suit with the hat as well.
Yeah,
That was
standing in the
teaser.
middle of the street.
That's also in this trailer. We got a big looking ship ass thing happening, and then I've got Neil's shot here, the worldwide premiere shot, where it looks like there was a theory. Well, someone theorized that a while ago that the reason why he's the David Tennant's is because it's all like a show that like it's all gonna be kind of a bit meta, and it's all like a show that like Toymaker is kind of like putting on, you know, which is why he's getting like David Tennant and like Donna Noble back together, and like he's manipulating the whole situation, and he's like he seems to be very showman-y. Yeah, it's meant to be like a spectacle, like it's something that he's manipulating and putting on. It's almost like he's like writing this situation.
Because it hasn't been confirmed, but like,
I mean,
everyone,
it's pretty obvious
he's the celestial toy maker.
Yeah, I doubt that he wouldn't be. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. Like, it's pretty much all but confirmed.
So he's like, he is like, he's a celestial, and every time a celestial shows up in Doctor Who, their whole thing is just to fuck around.
Yeah.
They don't
but like,
have a grand plan. It's just, I'm gonna mess with you for fun.
Yeah, like, it's kind of like, and I think that's where, like, Ncuti Gatwa's involvement comes in, is like, and this is what I was saying to you, like, that I think the special's gonna end with them reverting time almost, or like reversing things, because I think that's what Ncuti Gatwa's involvement's gonna be. Is like because he's kind of wearing David Tennant's costume as well. And I doubt we're gonna have like future Ncuti Gatwa after the regeneration. Like, I feel like it's gonna be him in this kind of like weird limbo existence.
Yeah,
where, like,
I agree.
I think he was meant to be the next incarnation, and the Celestial Toymaker has interfered and brought David Tennant in instead. Maybe, like, and I mean, one thing I'd like to see is I'd like to see some maybe closure for David Tennant's Doctor.
I think that's where we're going with it.
Yeah, because it very much seems to me like he is just the... Like, I know that one thing I wanted to see was, like, okay, if you're going to bring back a past actor, maybe give them a slightly different personality.
Yeah.
And I do think that we might still see that, I think. But,
I think the first episode, and especially around Donna, it's going to be 10.
I think once we start to realize what's going on, and once maybe he starts to figure out... Like, I have a feeling that the Toymaker isn't just, like, trying to put on a show and just doing it all for shits and gigs. I think he has made the Doctor 10 again for a very specific reason, and I think the Doctor's going to be kind of, like, once the Doctor starts figuring out why he's this incarnation again, I think it's going to be a situation where, like, he's a pawn in the Toymaker's plan. Like, I think the Toymaker has a plan. Like, there's something he's doing, but I definitely think the Doctor, I think it would be cool if, not necessarily the Doctor's the villain, but the Doctor's existence in this story is more sinister. Like, there's a sinister reason for him being this version of the Doctor again. It's not just like, oh, he's David Tennant again.
I think a lot of the 10 isms were very specifically hand-picked for that trailer. I don't think it's going to be 14's whole character.
We got an Alon Z
We got an Alon Z. We got, like you said, if she remembers me, she will die. And we got what? 3 times?
Yeah. I think it's very much, like, to me, it very much seems like a misdirect. I definitely think there's going to be a lot more going on to David Tennant being the 14th Doctor. And I think that's good. I think if you're going to make him the 14th Doctor and not make him the 10th again, Doctor, I think there has to be more to it. Otherwise, what's the point?
You just wasted an incarnation.
Why would... I mean, that doesn't.
It doesn't
matter,
matter, but still.
But the point still remains. Like, what's the point in making? Like, why wouldn't you just bring 10 back if you're just gonna do 10 again? So, like, there has to be a reason for it, and I do think it's definitely gonna tie in to something sinister, something bad. Like, I don't think this is just the toy maker making the Doctor, David Tennant's Doctor again for shits and gigs. And maybe that's where the other Doctors might come in if we do see other Doctors.
That's why I know that there's... I'm, like, pretty certain we're not going to get Capaldi.
I'm 100% certain we're not going to get Capaldi.
Yeah, but there's still hope.
Unless he's being really clever. And, you know, I'm still holding out hope that we might get, like, a cameo, maybe. Like, I doubt we'll get him in a full appearance, but I'm hoping we get at least something. Even if it's not Peter Capaldi, like, just get some archival footage. It's fine. Who cares?
It's like 9 in Day of the Doctor. We were all happy to see.
Just reuse his eye shot from Day of the Doctor. It's fine. But I definitely do, like, do you reckon we'll get a Paul McGann? Do you reckon that'll be a surprise?
I don't think we're going to get a Paul. I was surprised we got Paul for Power of the Doctor. I was so happy. Yeah. But I don't think we're going to get Paul for the 60th.
Yeah, I mean, there's that interesting quote that from Chris Chibnall that he used the Doctors that he used because of what was being planned for the 60th. Which, again, is a weird quote because we know he also wrote Power of the Doctor beforehand, but I mean, it's very easy to go back in and rewrite stuff.
Yeah,
you know, like, it's very easy for him to go back in and rewrite and add the because, like, that whole stuff is so separate to the rest of the story as well.
It's a whole CGI set. You don't have location filming. It's easy to.
It's very easy for him to just write that in. Although I think that probably was always the idea, but maybe when he initially wrote the script, it was very much like he didn't know what Doctors were going to appear, but he just wrote the dialogue and then was just like... Because, you know, like Stephen Moffat once said that, you know, the dialogue for the Doctor is always the same. It doesn't matter what incarnation, it's always the same, obviously apart from specific mannerisms. But then, you know, that's what he was talking about when it came to writing the 50th anniversary, that, like, the thing that he found was, like, writing for 10 and writing for 11 is the same thing, and it's just what the actor brings to the role that what differentiates it.
Yeah,
whatever. Like, you could write a base script and just put in brackets insert catchphrase
here. Yeah,
and then it just depends on which Doctor you get, right? So I definitely think I do think we will see other Doctors. Like, it's very hard for me to accept the idea that this is just going to be David Tennant. Like, we have to have something else. Like, there's no way this is going to pass by and we're not going to get another Doctor.
Even if it's obviously just 10 and 11 again, or 14 and 11 now. I reckon, like, things like Beep the Meep and those little red-eyed bug monsters. I think each episode is going to be like, you know, the toy maker is the grand plan.
Yeah.
And then each episode is like a distraction on the way to whatever his
I definitely
finale
think this is going to be very much like episode 1's going to be like
Beat the Meep with those bug things
and these monsters, and then episode 2 is going to be something different, and then episode 3 is going to be the big finale, and I think that's going to be the multi-Doctor one. If we do get multi-Doctor, it'll be episode 3
or very tail end of episode 2 leading into cliffhanger, because that's very
like Russell. I could very much imagine a cliffhanger would be Matt Smith showing up, and it'd be like, hey, look, it's me, the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, and then it goes to be continued. I think Jodie Whittaker's a very likely cameo Doctor to appear. I don't think she would be a main player in any capacity, just simply because she's just left. But she's been very open about, hey, Russell, I want to return. You know, like, I want to come back. So I definitely think, like again, like with the other Doctors, it would be so easy for Russell to write in a scene and then just shoot that later on and then add it into the final episode. Like, it would be so easy.
Just look at Day of the Doctor. Literally, the only involvement from any past Doctor that wasn't Tom Baker is a 2-second archival clip.
Yeah, I mean, there's not... Look, I've been skimming through the trailer, and there's not, like, a hell of a lot more to talk about that either we haven't already seen in public filming or we've seen. Like, we've got, David Tennant running. We've got a shot of David and Donna running... 14 and Donna running to what looks like a church entrance, I would say. Which we've got him saying Ellen's, or we've got a shot of some stuff exploding, and we've got Sean, Sylvia, and
Ruth Manley is also briefly in that trailer.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that shot.
It's in between the flashes of everyone looking forward near the end of the trailer.
David Tennant's pulling a poop face. That's fun. Oh, not really a poop face. It's more of yeah, it's a poop face. Then we have we just the Ncuti Gatwa. Yeah. Oh yeah, we got that shot. Oh, there's Ruth Madley. There she is. She's meant to be like a unit office, like some kind of like unit scientist or something.
She's also in Big Finish currently, actually.
Yes.
As
she's
Hebe. Hebe.
Yep.
Hebe. Whatever.
The Sixth Doctor's new companion.
Yes. I was looking at a photo of her just after you mentioned the name. I searched her up and I was like, that's the person from the cover.
Yeah. Oh, we got this weird shot of I'm gonna have to slow this down so I can find it. Of the toy maker with roses. And what looks like some kind of like hold on, I'm trying to get it now. David Tennant running down a corridor, classic. There he is. Yeah, it looks like he's in some kind of like milk bath almost with like the roses, and he's like throwing them up in the air. Like there's that. Other than that, like it's just shots of Donna Noble, and like it's weird because Donna Noble's like, oh, I feel like I'm missing something in my life, but then we've got a shot of them hugging immediately afterwards. So I have a feeling that the Donna Noble stuff is going to get resolved very quickly. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to linger for a very long time.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, because like we know in the special there's a lot of shot and like a lot of the public filming, like they seem very familiar with each other. So I feel like it's, especially in the trailer, like we've got a shot, and like I said, this all looks like from the first episode. So I feel like it's very much going to be a case of Donna remembers very early on. Like, I'm not expecting, like, very early on in the episode, but maybe, like, by the halfway point.
Yeah, I'd reckon so.
The Dr. Donna is back. Hey, I am so looking forward to rewatching Series 4 before this comes out, 100%. Man. Fucking hell. I'm so excited. Oh, my God.
So this is the hype that we've been missing for a few years now.
Yeah, like I wasn't expecting a trailer this early, but like I think it's nice because Russell did actually put out a little thing saying that this is a Christmas present because, you know, there's no Doctor Who this year and it's a very long wait until next year, so we thought we'd put together a trailer as a little Christmas present to everyone.
Yeah,
which is just nice. Like, if this was a Chibnall era episode, we just wouldn't see anything until like November.
Yeah,
like, well, we don't have a Christmas or New Year's special this year, and Christian just wouldn't say anything. Like, it would just be radio silence for a whole year.
Was really bad.
The other thing I guess we could briefly talk about, the other thing that happened, we did get a costume reveal for Ncuti Gatwa finally.
He's looking smooth.
He is. He's blended in with the van.
I love the way they're handling that channel right now.
But I liked that first video because we got the close up, a bit more close up of like his hands. Like that's where we found out about he's got all the rings and he's got the Gallifreyan nail tattoos.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. But I'm excited. I think he looks great. Likewise. He's very fashionable.
He is. Yeah. It's a bit atypical for the Doctor, which is nice.
I mean, from what we've seen, like, well, from what we've seen, but also I think just Ncuti Gatwa in general, I think what we're gonna get with the 15th Doctor is very much not what we've seen before.
So I was interested in something my partner said, because we're up to season 12. We watched Spyfall the other night, which again, actually,
wait, are you still? I thought you finished.
No.
Oh, did you just get up to Jodie?
We just got up to Jodie Whittaker, so we're up to...
Yeah, right. So you're up to Spyfall.
Which is, actually, again, on rewatch...
That's why I haven't asked about it for ages, because I thought you finished it all.
No, Spyfall Part 1 is actually still a decently good episode.
There we go. We're up to that's our update on the rewatch.
Yeah, there we go.
Spyfall. And from memory, Peter Capaldi was her favourite Doctor from memory?
No, it's Christopher Eccleston.
I swear you said maybe I'm projecting.
No, it's at one point I think she said it was, and that was in season 8. But the more she thought out, she's like, no, I still like Christopher Eccleston the most.
I mean, hey, fair play.
Matt Smith is actually the Doctor she wants to rewatch the most, which is fair because Matt has some solid let's go back and watch this episodes. But 9 is her favorite. But we were talking about she loves the costume and design and everything. And we're going over it, and she was like, I really like the new look. I love the boots. And I'm like, yeah, the wingtip fucking boots are great. But she was really hopeful that 15 is more of an adventurous, less not as excited. Because you know how the Doctor's been weirdly like ADHD excited for a while now? Yeah, she wants him to be a bit more mental like while still being excited and fun. Kind of more up to like 9 on a good day or 11 on a good day.
Yeah, okay. I mean, fair. I think that's probably going to get.
Yeah, that's what I'm keen for.
But anyway, that's Doctor Who. That's our
all day for Doctor Who.
Episodic Doctor Who chat. What have you been up to lately? What's been going on? Have you been doing anything interesting?
I can probably safely say that there has been a slight change in Final Fantasy 1. Normally I'm like, yeah, I'm still playing it. I am in the final dungeon of Final Fantasy 1 now. I am in the end game. Final Fantasy 1, I realized that I got like 70% through. I've been following a guide to try and get it done as quickly as possible. But like, at some point, like maybe a few days ago, I just booted it up. I'm like, I'm just going to talk to everyone in town and figure out where I go from there. And I've been enjoying it way more when I'm just figuring it out myself than following the guide.
Well, that's how I played Final Fantasy VII initially. Like, I literally just had the IGN walkthrough on. And it wasn't more just to, like, figure out what to do. It was just more to make sure I was going into each battle prepared.
Yeah,
with the
that's
right
what I was doing as well.
So I wasn't wasting my time trying to fight people that then I was equipped with the wrong gear or wrong materia. So, like, I would always have the guide open on my phone, and then I'd just be like, okay, I'm coming up to, this is when, and I'd scroll through it, and I'd be like, okay, because the great thing about, I think it was the IGN walkthroughs, the great thing about the IGN walkthroughs was they actually had what materia to equip and things like that as like their own separate segments throughout the thing. So like it was very easy to find the next thing for the boss fight.
Yeah.
And if I was struggling with a boss fight, like I would read their walkthrough and they would say the best strategies to like deal with the situation. But that's how I played it initially.
I feel like with 2, I'm just gonna completely play it blind until I get stuck. Because yeah, 1, I don't really have any memories of the early game, because it's kind of like glance at the guide, play the game, glance at the guide, play the game. You know, you're not processing what you're doing. So, 1, now that I'm in the end game and I've actually started playing it just to play it, solid game. Not like what I expect out of Final Fantasy, but looking forward to beating Garland and moving on to the second game. Nearly level 70.
Got a lot of games. Got a lot of games to go.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and like that's not even including all the
Spin-offs,
sequel games or spin-offs.
That's just
the entire Final Fantasy VII compilation.
That's gonna be interesting when I get to that.
Because that's not done yet as well. Like it's not finished.
Like the PS2 one is, but not the remake add-ons.
Well, yeah, the remake trilogy in that is all part of the compilation.
Yeah, I know.
So, it's not done yet.
I'm kind of debating.
So you're gonna get to that point, and then you're gonna be like, you'll finish everything that's available in the Final Fantasy VII compilation, but it won't be done yet. And then you're just like, oh well, we'll just move on to Final Fantasy VIII now.
I think for what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play 7 just by itself, like the original 7. And then I'll move on to 8, move on to 9, 10, all the way up until 14. And then...
but then you gotta remember, you gotta play through the 13 trilogy.
That is true. 13 is one I'm going to play all 3 games sequentially, because it is...
Well, yeah, you have to.
10, I might
you can't just play Final Fantasy 13 and then just not play the rest of them, because then you're just not playing Final... Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm playing through Final Fantasy 13 at the moment, but, like, when I refer to Final Fantasy 13,
you mean
I'm
the whole
talking about the
trilogy.
trilogy. I'm not talking about specifically...
Yeah, no, I agree with that one. With 13, I agree. 10, I've heard 10-2 is more like a spin-off sequel, so I might just play 10, move on to 12, because I think 11's an MMO.
11 is an MMO, yeah.
Then I'll play the 13 trilogy. Then I'll try and work my way through the 14 story, but that's like that's just on the side. That's not a...
Yeah, I feel like you should treat that as just like a separate thing, and then like when you finish 13, just move back on to 15 again and just play that.
15 I'm not going to play because I've already platinumed the game.
Okay, so then you'll move to 16.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I would just go straight from 13 to 16. I wouldn't bother
I would say between
trying
13,
to finish 14 in the middle, and just keep chipping away at 14. I think just keep doing it.
After 13,
do what I'm doing
gonna
with
go
Star Wars:
for
The Old
remake
Republic
again, because like I've said many times, I've not finished remake, and I'm very keen to finish remake. So I'm gonna, once 13's done, I'll move on to 7 remake, and then 16 most likely.
It really depends on how long it takes you to play all of them as well.
Yeah, 1 took me a lot longer than I thought it would, to be honest. That's just because, other games, Elden Ring, God of War came out. Then, like, you look at your game consoles one day, or whatever, your PC, and you're like, no. And then you just don't do anything with them.
Well, like, I really wanted to get some more Final Fantasy. I wanted to actually finish the first 13 game. I wanted to finish that before Crisis Core came out, but it just took me longer to play Gotham Knights than I wanted it to. So by the time I finished I hadn't even finished Gotham Knights, and Crisis Core was literally about to come out. So I had to sit down one night and just finish the side content for Gotham Knights. Not all of it, but there's this Gotham Knights has these side missions. So they have a quest, a short little side quest chain for Harley Quinn, one for Mr. Freeze, and one for Clayface. So I had to finish those, and I hadn't finished those yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up finishing that, and then I essentially, The Witcher came out, so I played The Witcher one night, and then I just went into Crisis Core from there, and I didn't get a chance to get back into play more 13. So yeah, once I finished Crisis Core, I'm gonna probably go back to 13 and just keep playing through that.
There's no real rush.
I want to try and finish 13 soon, and then at least I can move on to 13 too.
Like it's a 15-year-old, or it's like a 10-year-old trilogy, but 15-year-old game, but 10-year-old trilogy, I think. Yeah, so that's my Final Fantasy point. If we did the bullshit awards, I was gonna have a weird bullshit award for the game I was most pleasantly surprised by. So I'm gonna chuck this in here now to what I've been doing.
Yeah, there's no structure to this, just whatever.
I'm 70% through Sonic Frontiers, and
that's the new one.
That's the new one, and I gotta say,
right. Don't people hate that?
There's a really weird up and down on that one.
Right. Okay.
It's either the best Sonic game in years or just a dumpster fire. I own a lot of Sonic games. I don't play a lot of Sonic games. The last game in the Sonic franchise I was like, this is good, was Generations, and that came out 10 years ago.
Right.
I picked this up on a whim because it was on sale on Black Friday, and I was like, fuck it, why not?
Classic.
And the beginning of the game, the cutscenes are pretty bad, and there is... the pop-in is awful. This is
Oh yeah, I've heard the pop-in's pretty bad.
It is so bad. But in the end, I just kept working through it. It's got a really weirdly fun gameplay loop. You just collect the collectibles needed to talk to the character, ride around on some rails, kill some monsters, move on to the next area. It's like a pop-in for 10 minutes, progress, close down the game. And it's actually been really fun. 7 out of 10. Yeah. Went into it thinking this is gonna be garbage.
So there you go. Everyone else is just wrong, and Sonic Frontiers is actually a good game.
I would say it is a good game. Not a great game, not a fantastic game. It's a solid 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. That middle of the road.
Well, like, part of the reason why we're not doing the bullshit awards is, like, a lot of games came out this year, and, like, the only ones I've played is Lego Star Wars Stray, which I didn't even finish. Lego Star Wars, of course.
Loved it. Had its
and
problems, but I loved it. There's a whole episode people can check out.
We do. We have a whole episode on that game. Yeah. It's weird because I was so excited. I ended up finishing the game, and I ended up just stopped playing before I did any of the side content because I didn't want to like do everything. And then when the DLC came out with Ahsoka, I would just not be interested in playing it. And then the DLC came out with Ahsoka, and I played it for about 10 minutes. I was like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
and then I just never touched the game again.
I platinumed the game, but I did the exact same thing of once Ahsoka came out. I was like, yeah, this is cool. Close this game.
And then the only ones I played is didn't Forza come out this year, or was that last year?
I
Forza
don't
Horizon
follow
5.
Forza. I think it was this year.
I think that was this year too, wasn't it? Forza Horizon 5. I did play
No, it was
that.
2021.
Ah, damn. I played what's that game? I played the cleaning simulator game, the power wash simulator. I did play a bit of that. That was fun. Did play that. And then I also played Gotham Knights as well. I played Gotham Knights.
I only have
and
5
Crisis Core
games
recently.
on my fucking list here. Elden Ring, which I've not completed it yet, but I love me some Dark Souls any day of the year. Everyone knows this about me. God of War Ragnarok, platinumed that.
Yep.
Solid experience, wonderful, loved it. Made me cry several times. Not something you expect out of God of War, but there we go. Sonic Frontiers, Final Fantasy 1, which didn't come out this year, admittedly, unless you count the Pixel Written. No, that came out years ago. Never mind. And Skywalker Saga.
Yeah, I mean, like, most of my year has been Red Dead 2 and, like, SWTOR here and there, and, yeah, the couple of games that I have played. Obviously, Crisis Core at the moment, Witcher 3, Cyberpunk. Been replaying Cyberpunk. I did play the Village DLC.
I have
Resident
not
Evil
played
Village
that
DLC,
yet, so
Shadows
no
of Rose.
spoilers.
I did play that, and of course Final Fantasy. That's been basically my year. I
You're
honestly
much
can't
less
think of
interested
anything
in
else.
people this year.
Yeah, this is why we're ending the show.
We're just getting
It's
progressively
because
worse.
we just can't do the bullshit awards anymore because we're not playing anything. I
Vil-
will say, like, I don't really have a lot to talk about any of those.
I'm in the
Because
same
we've already done an episode
boat.
on Skywalker Saga, and Stray I didn't finish, but that was a good game. I did want to talk about Gotham Knights and Crisis Core a little bit. So Gotham Knights, I'll keep it brief because I only have some thoughts on that. So I did finish Gotham Knights because we actually did do impressions. I did do my impressions of it last episode where we started playing it. Gotham Knights, I finished it. Also, by the way, for context, when it comes to Gotham Knights, I only played as Batgirl. I never touched any of the other characters. So, and I will be honest, I was very satisfied at the end. Because basically the way it works is when you finish the game, you get like a little cutscene and you unlock I think it's called the Nightfall armor.
Yeah.
Which is like the really nice looking suit. And you unlock that, but there's like a little cutscene for that. And I will say, I can't speak for any of the other characters, but playing the game start to finish as Batgirl, having that cutscene at the end play where it's almost like she comes into her own rather than just being like part of the Bat family and part of like, like Batman's not around, so it's Batgirl we're dealing with. She actually comes into her own as a character, but in the ending, and it's like, no, like Batgirl is here.
So it feels more like the most
protect
complete
Gotham.
character there.
Well, I don't know what any of the other
that's
endings
fair.
are. I'm assuming you probably have the same ending for each character.
They all come
but,
into their own, not just part of the Bat family.
Yeah, like they all come into their own as characters.
Okay, for when
I'm
you were saying
assuming.
that,
but it was
like the other 3 do go more Bat family centric, while Batgirl.
Well, I just don't know what the
Okay,
endings
fair
are. But in terms of like the ending, the play, I'm assuming you get the same ending because basically what happens is when you finish the game, you unlock the Nightfall suits for all the characters. So, I'm assuming it's a similar sort of cutscene, but it was very satisfying. I will be honest. When I finished it, I was like, you know what? That's a satisfactory ending.
Yeah.
I love that. There is these little actual arcs for each character, so it's not just all like you can just change between each characters throughout the campaign. They all actually have their own little stories that you can do. It's nothing major. Like it's just essentially like little cutscenes. But Batgirl's obviously revolves a lot around her father and all that kind of stuff. So. There's some really good stuff there. Like, there's some good character work, I think. And that's what I think this game really excelled at, is character work. And, like, the character interactions between all the Bat family are really, really cool. I think they really nailed that kind of stuff. What else happens? Like, the story's decent enough. Like, I don't think it's terrible. It's not, like, anything, like, mind-blowing. Like, it doesn't compare to an Arkham game story, for example. But, like, it was decent enough. My biggest issue is it becomes all about the League of Shadows, and like the Court of Owls is dealt with very quickly and isn't really that much of a big deal.
That's a shame. That's
and then it just becomes all about then it becomes all about fucking Talia al Ghul and the League of Shadows, and it's just like, oh, okay, whatever. And then they resurrect Batman, and then you have to fight Batman, and then he dies again. And yeah, it was just weird. Like the whole like last couple of like chapters of that game were really weird, and I was like, this is not what I wanted this game to be. And I was like, this is just lame now. Especially when they brought back Batman. Like the spoilers for Gotham Knights. I'm sorry, I'll put the spoiler warning a bit late, but like they resurrect Batman, and then you have to fight him, and then they're like, and then he's like, and then you like the brainwashing, I guess, wears off, and he sacrifices himself to save you, and then the Court of Owls are just back at the end of the game just cause, like, like you actually completely dismantle the Court of Owls, but then at the end of the game they're like, oh lol, jokes, we just have a new leader now, and it's just like, okay, cool, whatever. Like the first part of the game, the Court of Owls are kind of there in the shadows in the background, but you don't really start seeing them or the story doesn't really become more about them until like chapter 3.
Yeah.
And then like 4 and 5 are kind of like the big Court of Owls chapters, and then like chapter 6 and 7 and 8 are just kind of like Court of Owls dealt with now. Now we'll just do our League of Shadows stuff. And yeah, that was very disappointing to me. Like I really wished the whole game was about the Court of Owls. But gameplay wise, look, I was bored of it very, very early on. And like I told you in the last video, I'm playing it on easy just so I can
because enemies
get
are
through
absolute sponges, aren't they?
They are, yeah. I did turn up the difficulty to medium, and I played it for about 2 minutes and went, nope, not doing this. And then I just changed it in mid-fight. I paused the game, went back to the menu, turned it to very easy, and then I just finished the fight, because I was like, this is fucked. I'm not playing this game like this. Like, this game is not good enough to be demanding that much of my time. And yeah, the whole like crafting and looting system, the whole kind of like live service elements that were in the game, even though it's no longer a live service game, like, yeah, it's just a weird game. Like, I don't think it's bad, and I would say, like, if you're looking for something to kind of fill in a bit of time in between some games, like, I definitely recommend it for that, but it's definitely not a must-play.
Okay.
Like, it's not, like, something you should go out and be like, oh, go out of your way to play. But, yeah, I mean, it's a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun to kill time, but I do definitely recommend the best way to play this game is to pick a character and just play that character the whole time, because I do find it weird that you are changing, but you can change between characters, because it just means there's no like
consistency
focus in the story. Like, yeah, there's no like kind of focus. Like, each character can do any of the main story missions, and all that really changes is what characters in the cutscenes, and there's some slight dialogue differences.
Right, okay.
But it just means like, yeah, like it's a game where you can play different characters for no real purpose, other than you can just
that 100% makes it feel like a gimmick on the character changing part.
Yeah, like, there's not, like, a part of the game where it's like, this is a Robin part, or this is, like, this part you need to play is Nightwing, or this part you need to play is Batgirl or Red Hood. It's just, pick whichever character you want to play and just play the game. That's just... But yeah, that's my thoughts on Gotham Knights. Okay. That was just a little bit of a follow-up to last episode where I did my initial impressions. That's my thoughts finishing the game. Would I play it again? No.
I'd probably get it on sale.
Oh yeah, this is a definitely get on sale game. This game is not good enough to pay full price for. But I've also been playing recently Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Reunion. As you know,
Yes.
I've been playing the Final Fantasy Sevens, and by sevens I mean I played Remake. I am gonna say I really enjoyed the game. I think the combat's really fun in this. It's a different combat system to the original game.
Yeah.
The Crisis Core, like it's a new version of that system. It plays very similarly to the remake.
Oh, so they've
now.
actually updated. I heard it was pretty much just a straight port.
But it's really fun. Like I've been really enjoying the combat in this game. Like it's just really solid, really fun to play. I don't understand the whole RNG element of it. Because there's like, for those who don't know, there's like this random what do they call them, the slot machines. There's like this random slot machine thing going on up in the top corner of the screen that brings up random character images, and those images determine what kind of buffs and things you get in the battle. So it's I don't understand that system at all, or how it works, or what it's meant, why it's there. But it is very much a case of like combat is very much determined by that RNG system. So like, you know, you might get you might get lucky and you might not use any of your magic points or attack points because you've been buffed, so you don't use them. So you can just, you know, go crazy, go ham with your magic and whatnot. But the actual combat, like the actual physically what you're doing, is really good. I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. Boss fights are really cool. Story-wise, I am enjoying the story.
I was about to say, because you mentioned that there is some issues you have, yeah.
And bear in mind, like, this story is more in reference to the original Final Fantasy game rather than the remake. And I haven't played the original one yet. But there are things about this game that I'm just not too sure about, and that I'm just like, this is weird. This is like, especially because this game was released after the fact. Like, there's just like I don't like the whole Zack and Cloud thing. I don't like I think it takes a lot away from Cloud as a character. Bear in mind, again, I only know Cloud from remake. I don't know the original game, but I don't like that Cloud is essentially like everything Cloud does is just copying Zack. I think that's weird. I think it's a weird thing. I know people like this game. Like, I know for some reason this game is like really popular, and you know, you say anything bad about Crisis Core and you got the mob after you. But like, it's weird, and I don't like it. I don't like that the game is filled with references to Final Fantasy VII. It's a lot of things that happen are like, it's because it happened in the original game, so it's happening here as well. My problem is, with the writing. It's just that there's weird things that I just don't like. I just think it's weird. I do know that this changes stuff from the original game too. Like, it actually retcons things to include Genesis. Final Fantasy VII has flashbacks, from my understanding. Like, has flashbacks with like Sephiroth and like Tifa and Cloud and all of that. And this game just, like, I do know that this game tries to just insert things in between with Genesis and Sephiroth that didn't happen in the original game. And so it's like, yeah, it's weird. It's a weird one. But in terms of the game itself, like, I think it's fine so far. I don't have any like major issues with the story that this game is telling right now. I'm up to I'm either up to chapter 4 or I'm up to chapter 5. I'm not really sure where I'm up to. I'm either at the end of chapter 4, like the last part of it, or it's the start of chapter 5. But I just think there's a lot of weird writing in it that just doesn't make a lot of sense. I think there's this whole thing where like Genesis is obsessed with the play Loveless, and everything Genesis does is like in this fictional play that we, the audience, have never seen or know anything about because it's a fictional play. But like the whole story is based around this idea of this fictional play, and everything is like a parallel to something we don't know about. Like, it's weird. I don't know, it's weird. But I don't hate the game. I'm enjoying playing it, and I like Zack as a character. His voice acting is abysmal.
I've heard.
It's really bad. It's really bad.
Okay.
Letting it slide, because I do like Zack as a character. Oh, actually, I know where I'm up to in the game. I'm literally about to meet Cloud, actually. That's where I'm up to. I know that because I saw that part of the game in a video, and that's where I'm up to. So I'm actually about to make Cloud.
Would you say that from what you understand of both of Crisis Core, I own Crisis Core on PSP. Would I be fine just playing that?
Well, it's the same game. Like, there's no difference here apart from the combat systems being changed, and obviously everything's all using new HD models. You can tell this is a PSP game. Like, jumping from Final Fantasy VII Remake to this, it is a little jarring because, like, you've got these remake models, but they also animate and move the same way the PSP game does in a lot of the cutscenes. So it is a little jarring, but you're also like, well, this is a remaster, not a remake. They've just updated the models. Obviously, this game, I would say I mean, if you've already got it, you might as well, right? But I would say probably get Reunion, just purely because the entire game is voice acted.
Oh, okay.
Where the original game isn't. Like, some cutscenes are in the original game, but a lot of it's text. Where in this, you've got the remake voice cast. So I would say probably play this. And the remake voice cast is good. So I mean, like,
just not Zack.
Zack is terrible. I can't believe anyone was like, yeah, this is a good idea. Apparently he does get better later on in the game. Like, apparently his performance gets a little better, but like it's really bad. It's very bad. And it also doesn't help that he also has some really atrocious dialogue to deal with as well. I think that's also a big factor into this situation.
Because he's a lot more funny haha than Cloud, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He's a lot more jokey and funny haha, as you described. But also, literally Cloud, while he may not be like that, literally everything, all of Cloud's mannerisms are also mannerisms that Zack has. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't like that Cloud is essentially just a copy of Zack. I think that takes so much away from Cloud as a character. But like the way Cloud, like, literally everything Cloud does, like, even the opening of the game is just the opening to Final Fantasy VII, but with Zack instead of Cloud. But it's the same thing. Like, he jumps off the train and does, like, the pose with the sword. It's exactly the same thing.
So it feels like, I'm sure it'll probably get me, but it feels a lot of fan service.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of stuff happens in this game because it happened in Final Fantasy VII. The way Zack meets Aerith for the first time is the same way Cloud meets Aerith for the first time. He falls from the reactor through the roof of the church and lands in the flower bed and wakes up, and Aerith is there and is like, oh, hi. I'm Aerith, and that's exactly what happens in Final Fantasy VII, which is weird. Like, that's so stupid. Like, why would you write that? Why would you go, oh, well, that happened with Cloud, so we'll just do it with Zack as well? Like, what the why would you... That's actually the thing that annoys me the most, because it's just dumb. Like, I get it's a spin-off PSP game, but you're also, like, this is meant to be a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, which is what is regarded as probably one of the greatest JRPGs of all time. And, like, you're just doing shit because that's what Cloud did. And bear in mind, I do like Zack as a character. I want to emphasize, like, I do like the idea of him as a character. I just wish he was more Zack and less Cloud. Or I wish Cloud was more Cloud and less Zack. Because it straight up has ruined Cloud as a character for me a little bit. Because I'm like, now whenever I see Cloud do anything in Remake, I'm like, oh, he's doing that because Zack does that. Having that being said, though, I don't really have the context of the original game as well when I'm playing this. So I don't know what... Like, I know there are retcons from the original game. There are things that happen that didn't happen in the original game that happen in this. Like, they've got the whole thing with Genesis that they try to slot into the events of the flashbacks of the original game, and it's just weird. But in terms of how this relates to Remake, basically Crisis Core, this version of Crisis Core, the reason why they've remastered it instead of just straight remaking it or do anything and they've just done a remaster is because this is also canon to the remake.
Yeah, because the remake only goes off the hinges in certain aspects.
And yeah, what they've done here with Crisis Core is they've changed the ending of the game. So in the original ending of the game, there's like a cutscene that just kind of wraps it up and ties it into the opening of Final Fantasy VII. And the reason why they've got that is because at the time they made the Final Fantasy VII PS3 tech demo, and so they incorporated some of that into the ending of Crisis Core, mainly just the stuff with Aerith from the opening of the original game. But instead, what they've done in this version is they've replaced that with the opening for Final Fantasy VII Remake. But then that's also intercut with the shots of clouds that they added to the ending of Crisis Core originally that weren't in the tech demo. So there's like this weird bit where like you've got the really high fidelity cutscenes of Aerith for the remake, and then it just cuts to cloud, and like, yes, it still looks good because it's an FMV, but it's also, you can very clearly tell that there's like a decade difference between the two. So it's a little weird, but it is what it is. But yeah, so I like shows or movies or anything you've consumed lately, or anything that from the year, whether it came out, that stood out to you.
TV shows, not as much. I think we covered most of the TV shows.
If I'm thinking of TV shows, like for 2022, like the show that's always going to stand out to me is Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Fair enough.
That show was fucking amazing. And if you haven't watched it, I would suggest
the first
give it a go.
I found it a bit I will continue it, but
the first episode is very introductory. It's more about just setting up David as a character than anything else. Like, you haven't properly met Lucy yet. Like, you haven't met the crew yet. And there is also a time skip as well. So that also happens around episode 6.
It wasn't bad.
But, like, the character works really good.
It just wasn't, like, a standout. And I get first episode. I'll work through it. But...
Oh, trust me. You'll get to the end of it and you'll be like, damn. You'll also have the song "I Really Want to Stay at Your House" stuck in your head as well. So enjoy that when that happens.
I've heard many things about this song. Oddly enough, I think my standout show for this year didn't come out this year either. It came out like 3 years ago. At least I think it was this year that I watched it. Mine.
Do you know what I did watch this year? Yeah, what was
mine
that?
was Years and Years.
Oh yeah, I watched that this year too. Fuck, I forgot about that. I did watch that this year, didn't I?
You and I both watched it.
Hell yeah. That was a good show. I still haven't watched the other one yet.
I haven't seen it
either.
Outside of the first episode.
I also started my Rebels rewatch this year as well. I also rewatched series 1 and 2 of Rebels, and got through... I'm only a few episodes into series 3, but I decided to stop that because season 3 I've already watched. Season 4 I haven't watched, but I decided to stop it because I thought, you know what, I'm just going to save the rest of it for before Ahsoka comes out. Because essentially Ahsoka just seems like it's just going to be a live-action continuation of Rebels anyway. I thought I might as well just save watching the part of Rebels that I haven't watched until Ahsoka comes out, and then I can just like kind of watch that. And then I'm definitely going to rewatch the Ahsoka episode in Mandalorian, because I actually do like that episode. But yeah, like if I was to think of like, there's some stuff I did this year. I think Star Wars Rebels, I really enjoyed rewatching through that. That's a good show.
I think it was this year that I finished it for the first time. It was either this year or last year.
It doesn't matter. What is time?
What is time anymore? Honestly, it's all blended together since 2020.
I'm currently watching Alice in Borderland. I'm rewatching season 1 of Alice in Borderland because season 2 just dropped. And I wanted to rewatch season 1, and I was planning on doing this earlier, but then I got distracted with a Korean show. And then by the time we do a next episode, I would have also watched The Witcher Blood Origins by that point as well.
Now?
So it is. It's out now. Yeah. Look, I'm not really that interested in it, especially after the whole Henry Cavill thing. But what is selling me on the show is two things, actually. It's the fact that it is going to be dealing with the conjunction of the spheres, which I just think is a really interesting bit of lore that I don't think the show's story itself is in the lore. I think it's an original story, but it's just kind of centered around this lore event. I think it's a really interesting bit of lore. So I think that'll be interesting to see explored. The kind of like when monsters first came into the universe and into the worlds, and like the creation of the first Witcher and things like that. Like I think that's going to be really interesting. But the other thing that's selling me on the show is the fact that it is just a mini series, and I think it's only like 4 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Like it's 4 episodes, and I think it is just like a mini event series. So I don't think it's going to be like, oh, we're going to do a season 2, a continuation, because then I just wouldn't be interested. Like, I don't care. I want to watch The Witcher. I don't want to watch this shit. But since it's a mini series, that's got me a bit more on board with it, I think. And also Michelle.
That is true.
Like, so yeah, I'm probably going to watch that. So by the next podcast episode, I should have seen that, so I could probably talk about that a little bit. What about like anything you're watching at the moment?
Nothing from 2022 per se. I'm rewatching.
I'm kind of blending what we're doing in the catch-up segment into one, so I'm kind of just asking you in general now.
I'm watching Pokemon, the original series, because they recently announced that Ash is retiring.
Yeah. Are they wrapping that show up though? Like, because didn't Ash just win?
They're wrapping up. So they're gonna keep going, but it's gonna be entirely new protagonists. It's pretty much a new show entirely. So Pokemon, of course, will keep going, but not the original saga.
I was surprised to learn that was even still going.
It makes bank.
I thought Pokemon was an old
No,
thing.
it is the highest grossing franchise in the world.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why they keep releasing shit games, right? Because people are just going to buy them and eat them up because, like, fuck it, it's Pokemon,
Pretty
right?
much. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I've actually seen or am watching currently. Andor, but I won't go into that just yet since I haven't finished it. You know what stood out to me this year that surprised me? Not a TV series, it was a movie. Top Gun Maverick.
Oh yeah, everyone's saying that's really good. Yeah, I haven't seen the original Top Gun, so I'm just not paying attention to it.
It is your classic blockbuster. I'm talking about Maverick here, not the original. It is your classic blockbuster action film with a semi low stakes plot, and it does it perfectly.
I'm sure Tom Cruise did some kind of dumb stunt
Actually,
again.
I think he did for that one. Mission Impossible 9, whatever it is that's coming out, he did because they're advertising it.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean that's cool. That's cool. I've heard that's a good movie.
Would recommend.
Yeah. I haven't watched any movies really this year, to be honest with you.
The Batman.
Oh, that came out this year, didn't it? Yeah. Okay, I did see that. Okay, I guess in terms of movies, that's a standout because I'm pretty sure that's the only one I watched. But I will stand by what I said about that film. I think it's a good movie. I just think it is absurdly long and doesn't need to be as long as it is. I
fully agree.
And I hope when they make the sequel, they don't make it that long, because I might not watch it. If that's the case, I'm not sitting through more of that that. And they're doing spin-off shows to it as well. Like they're doing a Gotham show.
Are they still doing those after the merger?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and they're doing a Penguin show with Colin Farrell. There's Colin Farrell, right?
Yeah, that's all we need.
Yeah. Oh, I think I was just confused for a second if I was mixing up Colin Firth and Colin Farrell, but no, it's fine. It's Colin Farrell. It's all good. But yeah, I mean, look, listen, I think it was good. But no, don't make it that long again, please. But yeah, I did watch that. You know what? That's my movie of the year because that's all I saw. And also, Robert Pattinson was good. I enjoyed him. He was a good Robert Bat.
What the fuck?
Don't worry about it. It's a Weekly Planet theme.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a really standout. I don't know. I didn't really watch anything. I know some Marvel movies came out probably.
Yeah, they did. I've watched.
Yeah. What ones came out? It was Thor came
Black
out.
Panther,
What else came
Doctor
out?
Strange 4 came out.
Black
Panther 2 was actually really good.
I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I'm typically in the camp of the first one is overrated, but I actually quite enjoyed the second one.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot Doctor Strange even came out, eh?
So did I, actually, and I actually do remember enjoying that film.
Oh, that's another film that had all these cameos in it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Patrick Stewart turns up for like 5 seconds. And you're like, oh, look, it's Patrick Stewart. Remember him from the X-Men movies? Well, here he is again.
And he's dead. Spoilers for Doctor Strange 2.
Oh, look, it's John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic Man. This is what you want, right? I guess Doctor Strange came out this year. There was some Marvel shows. She-Hulk came out. That has a whole bit where they're in like Marvel Studios or something at the end.
It
Probably.
does.
I could be
No,
making
that's
that
real.
up. Did any other like Marvel shows come out this year, or was that the only
Miss
one?
Marvel came out, and apparently that's really good. I've not seen it.
Didn't Moon
Moon
Knight
Knight
come
was
out this
this
year? Or
year,
was that
and
last
that
year?
is a standout for me. I enjoyed Moon Knight.
People liked it. People seemed to like it at the time. So, you know what did come out this year? Tales of the
I
Jedi.
have not seen it yet.
I really liked it, but then also my bias is showing. So
Apparently, a lot of people really liked it. Outside of, apparently, there's some drama about it retconning something in the Ahsoka timeline.
yeah, it basically does the events of the Ahsoka book, but also does them differently.
Classic Dave Filoni.
But then Dave Filoni's like, no, they're the same thing. And I'm like, yeah, but like you change stuff. But he's like, no, they're the same thing. And I'm like, okay. I also don't care because like most people would not have read the Ahsoka book. So like it doesn't matter at the end of the day. But I will say like I enjoyed the Ahsoka stuff. Like the thing you don't understand about Tales of the Jedi is it's nothing like big or groundbreaking or like amazing or anything. It's nice little like small vignettes into like a particular period of time with some characters. Like the Ahsoka stuff, nothing really happens in most of them. It's more about like there's literally one where it's just Ahsoka being trained by Anakin. Like that's the whole story. And then and the Captain Rex and the clones are that's how she's training Ahsoka. And it's kind of like this thing of like the move she ends up doing to not get stunned, because she keeps failing over and over and over again, and the move she does that actually where she wins, because it does skip forward a bit in time, like it starts out earlier on and then it skips forward to towards more the latter half of the Clone Wars. But the move she does is actually the same move she does to fend off all the clones during Order 66 in that sequence. It's the same kind of like spinny move thing that she does in that scene, and that's what she uses. And like, yes, I've been criticizing just things being a reference, but I thought it was kind of cool that was like something that she learned from Anakin.
Than a reference thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I have no problem with references and cameos and all of this shit as long as it means something. And so that was cool. One of the Ahsoka stories is, because there's 3 of each, and the other one's just like her as a baby, essentially, like as baby Ahsoka. It's like, okay, do we need this? No, not really. But her mum's the real MVP of that story. So that's a fun story. And then the last one is that story that's kind of loosely based off the book. And that's actually really good. That's a good story. But I will say, with that show, the Ahsoka stuff is very much just more Clone Wars. You know, like it's just more Ahsoka. You know, like it's nothing like, you know, it's nothing amazing. It's just like, that's
more
cool.
of what you want.
The Count Dooku stuff is where this series really shines. The Dooku stuff is really good. I remember they made a big deal about Liam Neeson voicing Qui-Gon in this. He only voices Qui-Gon in one scene, and he only has a couple of lines. It's actually his son voicing Qui-Gon for most of it.
That's still pretty cool.
Oh, it's pretty good. Like, it sounds good. It's just because, like, it deals with a younger Qui-Gon Jinn for some of it. Yeah. And then there is the older Qui-Gon. There's actually... Because basically, like, Dooku's... I'm not going to spoil Dooku's story, because I actually think it's really, really worth watching. It's really good. But we get a bit of Yaddle in there, a bit of Yaddle action, who's voiced by Bryce Dallas Howard. And also, by the way, Yoda's just a fucking weirdo, because Yaddle talks like a normal person. So it's just Yoda. Yoda's the only one that talks like that.
I have heard that. Fucking hell, Yoda.
Yeah.
To be fair, he seems like the type of crackpot who would do that.
Yoda's a crackpot. Oh, that's what he does in his meditation chamber all the time. Oh, I'm convinced he's just trolling. I think he's just doing it for a meme. He's just like, I'm just gonna troll everyone.
Taking loads of
and
ketamine.
I'm gonna talk in like weird ways, and then they're gonna have to like kind of decipher what I'm actually saying. But that was some actual good Star Wars. Unlike Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It had its moments.
Do you know what's funny about that series is the longer it goes on from when that series aired, the more I'm like, fuck, that was bad. Like, at the time, I was trying to make some excuses for it. Like, I was criticizing that show. I remember our episode. Like, I was fucking hard on that show. But, like, the more time goes on, the less excuses I can make for it. I'm just like, fuck, that was just bad. Like, why? What were they thinking?
I will still just say it has its moments.
It's fine, though. Yeah, it has moments. It has good scenes in a show that's really badly written. And... really also poorly made.
Yeah, Andor's fucking quality, like cinematography, has really highlighted that.
Why the fuck would you give Andor the budget? Like, why would you give that show the budget and not give it to, I don't know, Obi-Wan Kenobi? You've got Ewan McGregor back, for fuck's sake. Why aren't you giving him the money? Instead, you're giving it to fucking random guy from that one movie a few years back. Like, fuck off with that nonsense. Honestly, that's another reason why I'm not going to watch Andor. It's just out of pure spite. Pure spite that Andor took the budget that should have been given to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then maybe we could have had a better show. Yeah. And then as for me, like, the only other things I've been doing recently is I've been playing the new Witcher 3 update, the next
how's
gen.
That?
Look, I think it's really good. It's good on console. I think console's got the best kind of version of this. I think PC's having a lot of issues, as usual. PC Master Race, am I right? Where you have to, like, spend hours and hours trying to get your game to fucking work. But it's having issues with the DirectX 12. Because basically when you launch it on PC, you can launch it either with DirectX 11 or 12. DirectX 12 is where you're going to get all your ray tracing features and everything like that. And apparently that's kind of where the issues are really coming in. I don't have a computer capable of ray tracing, so loading DirectX 12 is completely pointless to me. I can play it though. Like, if I load it and don't have any ray tracing settings on, I can play it. But I don't notice any visible difference between 11 and 12. What I do notice though is I lose about half my frames in DirectX 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. For some, like, even on just basic settings, like, I'm not getting the frame rate that I do on DirectX 11. So I just played in DirectX 11 mode, and I still get a lot of benefits to this update. Like, obviously console's got the bigger benefit. Like, the whole point of this was for it to be a next gen update.
Yeah.
So, like, on console, you have the usual performance and fidelity mode. Obviously, your fidelity mode has the ray tracing and everything, but it's capped at 30 FPS. Like most console games are with ray tracing.
Yeah.
And then there's if you have ray tracing off, you get 60. On PC, you have a lot more options. So on PC, the game is going to look a bit different, even to the console versions, if you can get it to run properly. But yeah, for me personally, like, in terms of graphics, like, there is a big difference. Like, there's a lot more foliage. All the textures have been replaced because CDPR incorporated a lot of mods that were made for the game into the thing, along with a lot of stuff that they've done. And one of the things that they incorporated was the HD Reworked Project mod, which is a massive texture overhaul of literally every texture in the entire game. So that's now in the game by default now. Like, that's just built into the game, which is great because it's a very big mod that takes up a lot of space. So having it just built into the game is really nice. They also incorporated the HD Monsters Reworked mod, which again does the exact same thing, but for all the monsters.
For the monsters.
Yep. there's a bunch of other little like graphical tweaks and stuff. There's some lighting tweaks. The skyboxes are different as well. Like that's actually the first thing I noticed. Was when I logged in. Was when I looked up at the sky straight away, and I was like, wow, that looks very different. So the sky's really nice. The lighting's really nice. The textures are lovely. Like it looks really nice. Like if I was to say like this is the definitive way to play this game, 100%.
Okay.
And it's nice that some of the mods that I have regularly used before are now incorporated into the game by default, which is just really nice. As for the other new features, there's obviously the new camera angle, which is actually, when you update the game, is set to by default now, which is the new close camera angle. So it looks very similar to like God of War and things like that. Like you're much more closer in. And I'm going to be honest, I think I prefer to play the game that way. I think the default camera from the old version, I think it's just way better. I will say though, it's completely customizable, so you can turn it off for whatever. There's a setting for exploration, setting for combat, a setting for riding on the horse. So I actually have it turned off for the horse because I like when I'm riding a horse in a game or like driving a car, I like it to be in the center of the screen so I can see more. So yeah, for the horse I've turned it off, so when I get on a horse and ride, it defaults back to the normal camera. But for combat and exploration, I have it on close up, and it's really, really good. It's actually more immersive, I'm gonna be real. Just walking through like Novigrad, you get because the camera is now closer to Geralt and even a bit further down, you get a much better sense of scale in the worlds than what you would otherwise. So that's a really nice feature. I really enjoy that. There's a bunch of like quality of life improvements as well. There's a bunch of HUD customization as well now. So like by default now, the mini map and things will actually disappear from your screen after a few seconds and will come up if you press a button. But of course you can set that to be default like it was before, where it's just always on screen. But that's actually really nice. You can customize the HUD so it kind of disappears to kind of immerse yourself more into it. But then when you need it, you can just tap a button and it appears. It's really good stuff. The other big change is they've got quick signs, which is a huge quality of life improvement. But for those who don't know, like the original Witcher game, to use signs, you'd have to press the menu button and then you'd have the sign menu and then you pick which sign you want to use and then you'd use it. In this now, you just have one button, you push that down, and then you can just push another button, quick sign straight away. So I think it's R1. If you hold R1 down, you then... Oh, it could be R2, actually. I don't know what it is. It's one of them. But you push the button down, and then you just press any of the, like, main buttons or L2, and it will just activate a sign. And if you hold it down, it'll do the other version of the sign. Like, you know, if you're using Igni, you can do the quick fire, or you can do the targeted blast if you want to, if you hold it down. So yeah, quick signs is
so it's got a lot of quality of life changes.
It does, yeah, and a lot of bug fixes. They actually went through the entire game. They did a good once over on the game as well, and they still haven't fixed some bugs. Like there's still some bugs in The Witcher 3 that are just there. But in terms of like, they went through and just fixed a lot of like annoying bugs, and especially a lot of like there were some quests that had some minor issues in the game. They've actually fixed those. So it's really good. And they've also incorporated some other mods as well into the game. Like nothing crazy, but like just some other basic mods. And a few of their own changes, quality of life. The other thing they did is they've got a new quest now. So there's a new quest at the Devil's Pit. Which previously there was nothing there. Like you couldn't do anything there. It was just a place.
That's just where I go to farm headshots or crossbows.
Yeah. Well, there's a quest there now, and that's how you get the Netflix armor.
Is that just like is it his like armor, or is it just the shirt and pants?
No, it's his armor. It's his armor. It's also his...
All I remember Geralt wearing is the shirt and pants when he does the iconic fuck.
Yeah, no, it's his Season 1 armor that he wears, and then if you craft the what's it called, Masterwork version, it's his Season 2 armor. Which was a surprise to me, because they only ever showed his Season 1 appearance. They never showed the Season 2 stuff, but then I went to go craft the Masterwork armor, and it was his Season 2 appearance. I'm like, oh, that's fucking cool. They've also included some new armor sets as well, which you can go pick up. Basically, what happens is once you finish the kind of opening of the game in White Orchard, Yen leaves you a little gift in Vizima, in her room in Vizima, and you can go to the chest and you can pick up a couple of new armor sets that they've also added to the game. So like there's a lot of cool stuff in this update. It's definitely worth revisiting and playing a bit of. I've also added my own mods to kind of just enhance it a bit more. So I've also added like 4K resolution NPC models and things like that as well to just enhance that experience. So like my game looks really nice, I will say. Like all the NPCs are very crisp, very lovely, and I don't need to use as much mods anymore because some of the mods that I use are now just built into the game, so it's really nice.
Yay!
It's nice. Yeah, I love it.
Sounds like they did a solid job on this.
It is, yeah. Like I said, the PC port's a bit scuffed. The PC version's a bit scuffed if you're running DirectX 12 with ray tracing and stuff. Like it's a bit, there's some problems. There's a lot of pop-in if on DirectX 12. I do notice pop-in a bit now, where I didn't notice the pop-in before. So it's like just pop-in of foliage. And I think that's probably just because they've upped the foliage in the game. So because there's probably more of it now, you're probably seeing more stuff popping on the screen where you didn't notice it as much before. But yeah, it's a good little port. So I definitely suggest jumping back in and just giving it a bit of go. And especially the new quest, like the new quest for the Season 1 armor is really good. Just it's nothing like it's like Tales of the Jedi. It's nothing amazing, but it's just a really cool, fun little quest. It's a little spooky, little spooky stuff going on, and yeah, it's a good fun quest, that one. And I like that they included a quest. You know, like it would have been very easy just for them to be like, yeah, you can just go buy Geralt's armor. You know, like from the show, like it doesn't matter. Like, but then they're like, no, we're actually gonna make a whole quest. You know, we're gonna bring the voice actors back, and then we're gonna get them to record new lines, and we're gonna do a whole new quest. For you to get that armor, which is very cool. And also there's actually a lot of people have been finding a bunch of changes throughout the whole game, specifically dialogue changes. Like there's a lot of parts of the game now where new dialogue has been added. Nothing major, but like there's some scenes where they were showing, I was seeing on YouTube, there was one scene, I can't remember what part of the game it was in, but they were showing a comparison between the old version of the game and the new next-gen version, and it was like a conversation, like Yen would say something, and like Yen has like an extra 4 lines of dialogue in between 2 lines of dialogue she said before. So I don't know if it was like maybe cut lines that they maybe cut out, or whether they've recorded new stuff for various parts of the game, but that's all I have to say about it, though. It's really cool.
A lot of effort for a game that's 7 years old.
Yeah. It looks really good. It runs really good. And yeah, it's definitely worth jumping back in and playing. I've just been kind of casually playing it, like just playing it in bits and pieces. But once I finish Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm going to be playing through both expansions. That's the next thing I'm going to be doing. So this is how I'm going to be playing both expansions, is with this update. I'm going to play through Hearts of Stone and the other one. Whatever that's called. I wonder
if I can transfer saves.
Yes, saves are all compatible.
Wonderful.
And also across different devices, because they've introduced the cross-save feature that they brought into Cyberpunk. So
wonderful.
Yeah, it's all compatible.
I'm definitely gonna download this now. I was like, not really, but yeah, I might actually download and give this a shot.
Like, even if it's just like a casual session, like I've just been doing some casual sessions, just loading up some random save files, playing like random parts of the game. I played through the whole Battle of Kaer Morhen again, so that was fun. And what I did do was once I unlocked the Witcher armor, I did install the Henry Cavill mod. Because I'm gonna be real with you, I think Geralt looks really weird with the Netflix armor on. Like, I think it doesn't look right. But I've gotten used to it over time. But like, yeah, it looks a bit weird initially. Because it's not just the armor, like it's even the pendant, the wolf pendant thing, the wolf necklace is the Netflix version. Like when you equip that armor, you get the Netflix version of that. Which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's a good update, good fun. But that does bring us to the end of an episode. It's certainly an episode. This is
what a ride it has been.
Yeah, this is of course the last one for the year. So, and of course the last one on podcast services, as I said at the start of this episode. So if you are listening to this, make sure you head into the links. I'll put the links in the description on the podcast version, so you know where to go on the YouTube, so you can get more episodes moving forward into the new year. Plenty of content to come. However many episodes we decide to do over the course of the next few months. There's a lot of stuff coming out, like The Last of Us is coming out, like it's literally just around the corner, like that's coming out I think in a couple of weeks, so yeah, there's definitely stuff coming out, and of course Star Wars and all that. There's a lot of things coming out over the next 12 months or so that we will be able to talk about and cover, and
yes,
there's a lot of games coming out too, like
yeah, there is. 2023 is looking pretty alright until it gets delayed to 2024.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not going to play any of them, but they're coming out, you know? Like, so, hey, that's cool. I mean, I'll probably play... I think the ones that I'm excited to play are Resident Evil 4. That'll be one I'll definitely play. I'm going to play The Last of Us when that comes out on PC in April. I'm going to go out and play that. And like I said earlier, like the Final Fantasies I'm not that hyped about because I actually can't play them next year. So then to me, those games aren't coming out next year because I don't get to play them. Destiny. Yes, very much looking forward to my Destiny segment when Lightfall comes out in February.
It continues.
It never ends.
It never ends.
Yeah. Do you know what's weird is like a lot of stuff happens in Destiny, but I still don't understand like half of it.
That's how I feel about most things.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming, so we'll definitely get some stuff out now over the next year. And you know, we'll try and get you know, some guests back on. We'll try and get Jacob, and I'll maybe see if it's possible to try and get maybe Tom, since he was our first guest. Maybe it might be. I'll try and see if it's possible to get him on for maybe the Resident Evil episode, because I'm sure he'll play it. So we'll see what happens next year. But yeah, that brings us to the end of 2022. God, I hope I get this edited and out before the end of the year. Fuck's sake. But yeah, that's it from us. Of course, do all the usuals. The links are in the description. Especially if you're on podcast platforms, follow through, because you won't be hearing our lovely voices again over here. All right. But yeah, I think that brings us to the end. Lewin, you got anything you'd like to add?
No, not much. Just for the people who somehow do listen to this if it comes out before the end of the year, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all that. And we will see you in the new year, I suppose.
We will. Yes, in the new year. Alright, that's it. Goodbye, guys. See us.
Bye.
For fuck's sake.